Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour. We are episode 43. And we've got a fantastic show coming up for you guys. We have some stakes action that we're going to cover tomorrow. Obviously, we're back here at Gulfstream just because it was kind of easier for me to kind of just set some things up since we're covering the stakes action at Gulfstream tomorrow. Before we start, just want to give a quick shout out to Mom. It's her birthday today, so we'll be going out. We'll be celebrating. It's always, Aaron, you know better than me, when you're a sports fan, it's always tough. You got to know when the birthdays fall, and I was really worried that it would be ruining some Sweet 16 action, but because of COVID, it's not going to start until tomorrow. So we quickly checked the calendar, and we're all good. We are ready to go. How excited are you for today's episode, what we have for the weekend, sports-wise, college basketball-wise? It's just a great time of the year, and I know we're both on the same page. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, happy birthday to the Rocket Mom. Exactly, Nick. Yeah, wow. I've never met her, never even seen her, but hope she has a good day, Ricky. And she has you as a son, so she's already started off on the right foot.
Well,
so.
I appreciate that. Aaron and I go back and forth, but it's nice that we can share this, and I'm happy I can give a little birthday shout out. How excited are you for these four races that we're going to be talking about? You know, the boss man texted me and said, let's only do the last four races, which I said, you know what, that's fine. Mm-hmm. More so for a marketing purpose. So Aaron, we have a lot to get to. Kind of before we actually roll into the races, kind of just tell me what you're looking forward to, maybe sequence-wise, if there's a race maybe earlier in the card that we're not going to talk about that people should get their eyes on, get the attention. Anything that we should look forward to, or anything we might touch on a little bit later.
No bullshit on this card. It's pretty much all fun. Like every sequence is interesting and got a chance to pay out pretty well. I describe all the races, the stakes races, I should say, as good horses, not like elite horses, but they're all pretty good betting races. So I think the best way to describe the whole card is fun. It's just from top to bottom. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. So I'm super excited for Gulfstream tomorrow. Like I said at the top of the show, great weekend for sports. The Dubai World Cup is coming up as well. So we'll get that in the morning, and then Gulfstream, and then of course college basketball starts up again. So yeah, I'm pumped for this. I'm pumped for these last four races. I think it's the best four to talk about for sure. Yeah,
for me, I completely agree. When I went through stakes races, I was kind of looking for like those elite horses, and I never really found them. Mm-hmm. So the expectation, the minute, at least for me, this is what I do. As soon as I see, it's going to be a big stakes day, I just start at the back, and I start at the last race because that's usually the feature, and I just want to go through the names. I don't actually look at the races quite yet. I go in order like most normal human beings, but I just want to see the names, and nothing really popped out. I mean, we'll get into the feature, the Florida Derby, but nothing really popped out. So that could go one of two ways. Either A, the card's not that good, or B, the feature is going to be much better because you have to look forward to that. Sometimes like there's a race like race 9 where it's got the best horses, and then it's like, all right, well, now I got to sit through, it's just weird, right? Yeah. And I don't think there was a race where anything stepped out or stuck out, I should say. So we'll get right into it. But I'm with you. I don't think anything stood out, which kind of made the sequence a little bit tougher. We're just going to roll through 11 through 14. So we'll start with the Close Shave Rocket Launch brought to you by Manscaped. Use the code ROCKET20. Support for the Rocket Hours brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for everyone listening today, 20% off plus free shipping with the code ROCKET20 at manscaped.com. All right, Aaron, let's get to it. We have the Cutler. We'll start with the Cutler Bay Steaks. This one's interesting, right? Again, this kind of goes back to, I guess, the field that's not so great. It's 3-year-olds, going a 1 mile on the turf. I think the horse to keep an eye on is Annex. Annex comes into this race undefeated, but I think we could potentially beat him. Which, if we were to beat him, which way would you go?
I'm glad you feel that way because I have a lot of respect for Annex, and I definitely think that the horse has to be on your ticket. But I am going to try to beat him here for 2 reasons. One, there's a horse I like that I'll talk about in just a second. And 2, even though he won last time out, I kind of thought Annex would really assert himself, kind of run away from that field. It was impressive, but it was close. And it's I was in doubt to the very end. I kind of think we might be able to beat him. I'm going to go with a Ricky P angle to start this out. This New York horse, the number 8 Step Dancer. I'm very interested in Step Dancer here. Coming in from New York, has won 2 out of 3 races. The only loss came against Fire at Will, which of course won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and was only beaten 4 lengths by that horse. So I'm going to take a small shot against Annex with Step Dancer. The big key, Jose Ortiz rides for Barkley Tag. He hardly ever does that. He's done it 7 times in the last year, but 3 of those horses have come back to, or have won, not come back to him, but have won when he's been aboard. And the biggest thing overall, it's not even the riding ability of Jose Ortiz. It's just the fact that he's getting on this horse tells me that his agent and maybe Ortiz himself thinks this horse is pretty good, training well, ready to go. So Step Dancer, a little bit of an upset I'm going with to kick this thing off.
So I fell victim to Annex, and I put Annex on top. But I don't think the single is the right play. I'm pretty sure you'd be doing yourself a disservice by doing that. One horse I kept an eye on that I'm going to be using is the 2 Fighting Force. Fighting Force wasn't that much worse than Annex last time out, and they ran in the same stakes race, the Palm Beach Stakes. If we take a look, or I shouldn't say we won't be doing this. If you take a look at the replay, Annex was 22 lengths off the lead, a legit 22 lengths. Fighting Force was 20 lengths off. Fighting Force is a horse with speed and was way, way, way out of it. It was one of those weird races where the leader just quickly got kind of ahead of everyone, and that was Arzak, I believe, and just kind of ran off, and it died. I don't think that's a race that we could put too much into. Annex was closing in, I think Arzak was up by close to double digits, just running alone. So I think Fighting Force, if this race is a little bit more normal, and I shouldn't say normal, Fighting Force could sit right off the lead to a horse like King of Dreams, who I'm also using. So I went 2-5, and I did use Annex. I could change that opinion, obviously, but Aaron and I are on the same page. We would not be singling Annex, even though we think that is still the horse to beat. Real quick on Step Dancer, if I'm going to pick a closer, I'm probably going to take Annex, just because Annex will be the last horse, and Step Dancer will probably be a couple lengths ahead. So I just went from a position standpoint. I think Step Dancer has the talent to win, because I don't know if Annex is that great. Some of the 3-year-old turf horses that we saw, like Guffaw last year and things like are much better than Annex. And Annex seems to be leading this Florida colony. So we'll see. But I think this is a wide open race. Let's move on to the 12th race, the Gulfstream Park Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. If you guys are interested in the filly division, there's a ton of stakes points on the line. I think 100 will be going to the winner and 40 will be going to second place. Real quick, you guys can go to, I think, to racingdudes.com or YouTube Racing Dudes, and you could see Dr. Miranda's preview on this race as well. She breaks down every horse and gives you her suggestions and wagering insights as well. Aaron, I'll throw it to you. Con Lima has run on the turf and has run on the dirt. The dirt hasn't been a long time, but she might be the most talented in here, but there are a lot of question marks. We have the Racing Dudes umbrella horse, Millie Philly, Milf Wheel. I'm like the only person under the umbrella who doesn't really love her. Where are you going here? Are you going with the talent Con Lima, or are you going to try to use the Racing Dudes horse, or maybe even Crazy Beautiful at 5-2?
Yeah, I didn't use Crazy Beautiful on top. I just think that's one we can try to beat. I do have Crazy Beautiful as a little bit of defensive play in the multis because, the horse is definitely the most consistent out of these. I was between Con Lima and Millie Philly, okay? And Con Lima, I just couldn't quite pull the trigger. I'm going to be really mad if this horse wins. But I did put her in second. The turf just seems to be where she's best, but boy, she kind of has that lonely lead. Ricky, I don't really like Millie Philly that much either, but I just feel like she's got the perfect setup this time because I think she's faster than these other horses early. I think she can get position, and I think she can kind of track Con Lima. And then my thought is Con Lima may fade a little bit harder on the dirt rather than the turf. And then Millie Philly's just kind of going to be in position where I'm ahead. I've got one horse to run down, and the ones behind me aren't very good. I think she can kind of do it. I'm with you, though. I don't like this horse that well either, but I just think the setup is going to be pretty right for her today. And honestly, I think the price might be right. I think people are going to look at that last race and think, well, this horse isn't very good. I don't know. I think Millie Philly gets a decent trip here. I think it's the one of the six.
So I did put the 3 Crazy Beautiful on top, and you kind of alluded to it just because of a consistency factor. Yep. I have no clue what Milfwell is going to run after that race, and I am not the biggest Molotov fan. I've been saying that for a long time, and I might have egg on my face. I'm just not a fan. So if I'm not going to be a fan of her then, I'm not going to be a fan of her now. Like I think Dr. Miranda said yesterday, we're waiting for Malathot to come back. Mm-hmm. She can take her sweet ass time because I could care less. This 3-year-old Philly group is very weak, like very weak in my opinion. I love the male division. I love the Kentucky Derby group. Unfortunately, we have some injuries on that front, but I think this group is very, very weak. And if we were to look at last year's group, Swiss Skydiver, like Swiss Skydiver, would she not be as a 3-year-old? No, maybe not now. As a 3-year-old last year, is she not 1-2?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. This group sucks. So for that moment alone, for that statement alone, I have to take Crazy Beautiful because at least I have an idea of what she's going to do. And she is getting Jose Ortiz. I thought that was a significant jump over Robbie Alvarado, and Robbie Alvarado got this horse to second. I don't know what's going on with Whole Bodymeister. Like, I don't know if she's just much better or if that was a boom spot. Like, I have no idea. And the fact that Con Lima steps into this spot at 3-1 and hasn't been on the dirt in this long is an indication that this group stinks. Like, if nothing else, that's telling you this group's not very good.
Yep.
I don't know how else to say it other than this. You can go a lot of different directions. I'm not taking a horse in Milf Will at 7-2 lost by over 20 lengths. I'm sorry. Like, that's just not me. Like, I can't I can't get myself to do that. Maybe some will, some won't. I'm in the I won't category. Let's move to the Orchid Stakes, grade 3 for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. We're going 1 3/8 miles, so 11 furlong on the turf. Now, this is a race that I'm all about. I love these races. Aaron and I have talked about it a lot. You can't get away with just using a couple. You feel like you got to use as many as possible. We do have a short price. Irad Ortiz, Todd Pletcher at the very bottom of the screen, the 9, always shopping. Aaron, is that where you went? Or are you going to try to beat this one? I think 8-5 is probably what you're going to get about, to be honest. I don't think you're going to get anything better than that. Maybe a touch lower, but probably in the same range.
I kind of feel like you have to go with one of 2 horses here. And I went with number 9, Always Shopping. She just kind of seems better than the rest of these. She's beaten most of these before and did it easily and has done it a couple of times. Yeah, I like Always Shopping here. I'm definitely going with that horse on top. I thought the Stranger Danger was the only one that might be able to beat her. Number 5, Sorrel, comes over from overseas, first start in the United States, has won at this, well, not exactly at this distance, but at the marathon distances of 1.5 miles, 1.5 miles. Has won 3 races in a row, shows up here for Christophe Clement. I don't know. I think this horse is kind of that one that can beat Always Shopping, but I'll take Always Shopping on top.
So I went deep. There are a couple horses that I'm very interested in. I'm not going to give both out, but the one I am interested in is the 8 Belle Laura. I think Belle Laura is probably going to be on the lead. There's not anyone in here who's dying for the lead, I don't think. But we've seen these races kind of just gallop along and like take their time, and what ends up happening is we have a gate to wire winner, and we're kind of looking at each other like, what did we just see? Mm-hmm. Can Belle Laura do that? Or, the 4 maybe Morning Molly, like what can know? I didn't use Morning Molly, and just as I say that, I think Vinny chimes in interest in Morning Molly. Like, I think they're going to run the same race, but you have to be naive to not use Always Shopping. The other horse I was interested in is Sister Hanan or whatever the heck the name. I think this is a horse. I really liked this horse last time out, showing some speed, and I don't think she's that much worse than Belle Laura, so I'll take 10-1. She was able to close some ground with Always Shopping and Delta's Kingdom. Mm-hmm. If Always Shopping is the best, then she'll win this race. But I'm not sure her best is that much better, which will lead me to believe that I can get 8-1 or 10-1 on a couple others. So I think, again, when Aaron again alluded to it, and it's the same kind of premise. We don't have any true singles in here, I don't think. And Aaron kind of alluded to it as we get to the final race here, the Florida Derby. I think someone asked yesterday, will Greatest Honor be a single? And we both kind of looked at each other like, potentially, but we're not going to go that way. Like, I don't blame anyone if they were to do that. I just think you might get burned in the end. And I hate it, and this is my personal opinion, and maybe it's wrong. I hate singling in the last leg. I absolutely hate it. What I would do, like, I'll take a couple, and if I love a horse and it's a short price, then I'll go just play a separate win bet. Because to single, you have everything riding. And then at that point, you're going to hedge with all the other horses. So that's just not the thing I like to do when there's going to be so much. Aaron, we'll get to this race now. Obviously, Greatest Honor is the favorite, 6-5, and deservingly so. I don't think anyone's going to sit here and criticize. You do have Collaborate or Calibrate, whatever the heck. Collaborate, 6-1, has gotten much better in 2021. And Spielberg will ship to Gulfstream for the first time. Obviously, a West Coast runner. Obviously made his way to Oaklawn last time out in the Southwest. It wasn't great, but essential quality might just be better. Are we going to beat Greatest Honor, or are we just going to go a little bit deeper and try to hope we get a better price home?
Yeah, I'll throw up this question right now. Who's the most likely horse to be singled in the sequence? I throw it out because of how you open it up with Greatest Honor, and is he a single? And we kind of talked about it. Listen, Nick, that's a really good question, and it's tricky, right? Because a lot of people really love Greatest Honor, so he might be. I think Always Shopping could be there as well, but it's a long race, like you mentioned. There's other horses that people are going to be intrigued with. Maybe not Always Shopping, and then I don't think you're singling in the Philly race, and maybe Annex in the 11th. Maybe. I mean, I don't know but that is the definition of this card. All these stakes races, they have a horse, one or maybe two, that you go, oh, I could go short here. And then as you keep on handicapping, it's like, ooh, no, this one looks good. This one looks good. That's what's going to make this a really tough card. So on to the race, though. Listen, I'm going to try to beat Greatest Honor here. I'm going to try to beat him with Collaborate. I just thought this horse was super impressive on Fountain of Youth Day. Broke the maiden by like 12 lengths, going a mile. First time against winners, first time 2 turns. 2 very tough tasks in a grade 1 race, but I think this horse is the real deal. The biggest thing is I think he's got the controlling speed. I just think this horse can get out of the gate, get to the lead, and if he has that staying power for that final 1/8 of a mile, I just don't know if Greatest Honor is quite fast enough to catch him. I could see Greatest Honor making a move, maybe getting second or third, but I think Collaborate's going to have to come back to him a little bit. And that'll be the key. And I think if he gets a trip, then I'm hoping I think the 9 horse is kind of gone at the top of the stretch there, and they have trouble running him down.
I went back and forth, and I guess I should be happy that I'm not the only one who didn't single Greatest Honor. So that I do want to throw that question up again. Who's the most likely horse to be singled? I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say it's Annex. That's the horse that I think people are going to try to single. It was a very visually pleasing race to see a horse like start all the way in the back and gradually make his way up. But I don't know if that I would single Greatest Honor if I had to single in the sequence. That would be my single. Now I'm not going to, but just for the sake of the conversation, for the sake of the question, that would be my single. Because I'm not going to single in a race that's 11 furlongs. Like automatically, I'm not going to do that in a big field, no less. And I look at Greatest Honor and Annex, and I look at myself and I say, Greatest Honor is probably the most likely winner in my book. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to single him. And the other horse that I'm going to keep an eye on is the one you mentioned, Collaborate. I don't know what the heck last race was in terms of, I don't know if that's what he's going to be moving forward. Like, if that's what he is moving forward, then he's got a legitimate shot. Was that a boom race? I've got no idea. That 102 time form is not going to be good enough. He ran a 94, I believe, on debut. So can he step it up another 8 points? Potentially, if he runs a 110, that should be good enough, or it could be good enough. If he runs like a 102, that's not going to be good enough. Just to give you guys some other numbers, Spielberg's run a 113, Greatest Honors run a 113, Known Agenda's run a 108. So to this moment, Collaborate at 102 is not going to be good enough. And Vinny's horse, who the single Grilled and Cheese Tomato Soup, he's referring to Soup and Sandwich. There's a little, I shouldn't say joke going on, but Slim yesterday, Mike Spector, put a little long shot up, and he put a picture of soup, and then he put a picture of a sandwich, and a lot of people were enjoying that. So I know they're relying on grilled cheese and tomato soup. Hey, you know what? They got helium right last time out. That was what, the Tampa Bay Derby not too long ago. Hey, I was on helium too. I was on this show and said, hey, give helium a shot. And I don't like Woodbine runners, if you guys watch. So who knows? Maybe tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich will get the job done. Soup and sandwich at 20-1. Are there any other horses that you want to talk about? I'm with you, though, on the Collaborate angle. I think we kind of know what Spielberg is. And to be brutally honest, I don't love Spielberg. The only horses he's beaten in his career are the Great One and Parnelli in his 2 wins. And he beat Jackie's Warrior last time out. I don't know what that is. Where he beat Roman Centurion, who doesn't seem to be trending the right way. Are there any other horses that you maybe are taking a second look at or in the back of your mind right now?
Yeah, let's throw this up, and this is who I was going to say. Did Nona Gin a Frink last time out, or question mark? Dennis says, that's a great question. We kind of talked about on Blinkers Off. Was it the blinkers? Was it the Lasix? Was it the weak field? Is it a combination of the 3 that made that horse look better? I'm going to go. I just think that field was just a little weak. Listen, Known Agenda, you can't play them all, right? And that's just the one I kind of had to cut out. It kind of came down to I want to play Known Agenda or Spielberg in the multis, and I chose Spielberg, and hopefully I chose correctly there, and Known Agenda doesn't win. But I'm on the fence with him, Dennis. I mean, he was the first one off the ticket out of this race, and I'm not going to be shocked, but I don't quite think he's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, he did beat Greatest Honor, obviously, last year. I'm kind of with Aaron. I think that was a freak performance. I mean, he was running in the mid-90s, low to mid-90s, and then he has a 101, 102, and then runs a 108. And the difference with Collaborate is Collaborate has 2 races and has already shown the progression. This horse, can he still be getting better? Sure. And Nick says I won't let IRAD. You know what? If that's your logic, I can't fault you for that because it's happened time and time again. I don't think that's the wrong angle. Again, like the way things have been going with IRAD at Gulfstream, it's like unless that horse is 20-1, which he's never going to be on a 20-1 horse, you kind of have to use him. So to Aaron's point, it's kind of like Spielberg or Known Agenda because we're both on the Collaborate train. But this is why I don't think you can use just Greatest Honor as a single in my book. I would if I had to, if someone forced me to, but I don't think that's the right move. That is going to do it for our Close Shave Rocket launch brought to you by Manscaped. Again, guys, use the code ROCKET20 on Friday morning, almost afternoon, as we have a big stakes action. Big stakes. We just did the last 4 races. You guys can check out racingdudes.com. Obviously, my stuff will be up there around 6 o'clock tonight. You can get the guide now. That will be updated tomorrow morning when all the info, scratches, changes, all that good stuff comes out. Aaron or Jared or Magic, one of them will update it, and it'll be ready to go for you guys. So obviously, just take a look at that, because we didn't do races 1 through 10. They have 14 fantastic races. We do have some Gulfstream action to get to today. We'll do that. It's races 7 through 10, and then we will get to some Sweet 16 picks. Should be done around 11:45 or so. Hopefully, we'll see. That's why we started a little bit early today. All right, Aaron, we'll start it off, race 7, as we always do. Again, we're at Gulfstream today. We're usually Oaklawn, so if you guys have your Oaklawn PPs, don't type in the comments. They usually do Oaklawn. We said yesterday we were doing Gulfstream. Real quick, I didn't mention, I think the toughest races on tomorrow's card are the maiden special weight races. Yeah. I couldn't figure those out. So I went 6 or 7 deep in one of them. I got no idea, especially 2 turns on the turf. Really, really difficult. So if you guys get a chance, maybe tonight before you go out or you enjoy your night or whatever it is, take a look at some of those maiden special weight races. I believe race 7, impossible. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's like you have 19 puzzle pieces and you need 20 and you're trying to make it work. I have no idea what to do. So guys, take a look at that and let us know what you think. We'll start with race 7 here, Aaron. Maiden special weight for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward. Again, it's kind of similar situation, going 1 mile on the turf. We have a lot of experience. I think there's one horse that doesn't, one filly who doesn't. But where did you go in this spot? I see you have a win wager. So let us know where you went and why you went there.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a fairly formful race to open this up. I think the kind of the shorter prices are definitely the most logical horses in this sequence, or in this race, I should say, to kick off the sequence. Yeah, I went $10 to win on number 1, Bonkers. I'm going with an angle that usually is tried and true, especially on the turf, and that's Mike Maker first off the claim, Irad Ortiz aboard. Pretty good connections here. It's not just because of the claim, though. I think this horse getting back to the turf, it obviously looks like what this filly wants to do. I think Bonkers definitely looks like a turf horse. Debuted on the turf, ran again on the turf, 2 good performances, some odd races on the dirt, and now here we are back. I think it's a good spot. So I'm going to go number 1, Bonkers, on top with a $10 win wager to kick it off. I do like the number 2 baseline drive a little bit as well. That's what I put in second. The biggest reason, though, I like this horse, but at the same time, with Bonkers, I just feel like tactical advantage over the 2, right? Going to be out a little bit ahead. Maybe even a tactical advantage a little bit over the 8, not quite as much, but I think Bonkers is going to be in the lead, and that's why I kind of leaned toward her. But yeah, 1 and 2 were my top 2.
I think I'll be honest, I used the 1 in 4th, and I did use the 1. I put the 8 mint edition on top. I look at these. Tell me the 1 and 2 don't have like career maiden written all over them, and that's kind of what I'm worried about, and that's why I would eliminate both, or I'm going to use both, and in this case I'm going to use both. I looked at this race multiple times, and I said if the 8 wins, it's going to kill me, because I could have easily in my book singled. I really do like the 8 much better, and then we're kind of looking at a really, really, really short price here, because I think the 8 is going to be what? Some 5-2, probably about that, maybe 2-1. And now I shouldn't say wasted money, but I could have used other horses that I wasn't into. There's one horse I'm interested in. I did use the 1 and 2, and maybe we could talk about the 2 a little bit. What about the 6? Look Me Over. I don't know how much worse she is than the other horses, and I kind of looked at this one and said, okay, well, why is this horse drastically different in terms of morning line odds? So like Aaron does, and he taught me a long time ago, I went to time form, and I said, okay, well, let me try to break this down a little bit more. I said the 8 has some early speed. I think the 6 has some early speed. I think in the time form numbers say the 6 is a little bit quicker or a little bit better. But it's Irad Ortiz and Mike Maker. And the other one's what? Like it's Javier and Chad Brown. I think that's the reason why I'm getting that price. And I'll be more than happy to take that. Then I looked at the 5 Awesome Ella, who I'm not interested in. Maybe you are, and maybe we could discuss her. But Awesome Ella is going to be coming from well out of it. And I just don't see a horse that's 0 for 9 ever going to get up to beat those horses. So that's why I left the 5 off. What did you think, if you want to talk about a little bit of the 2 baseline drive, or maybe why you didn't use the 8? I could understand why you didn't place your win wager on the 6, so we don't have to get into the 6. But I'm a little shocked that your win wager didn't go to the 8, because I thought you would have liked that horse maybe second time on the turf.
Yeah, so the 8 I definitely have in the top 4. A couple of things. Was 26-1 in that maiden race. So that's like, well, they didn't, the bettors didn't think much of her there. Now, he obviously outran her odds, did very well. Still got beaten by 4 3/4. So it wasn't like she was close, but at the same time, I get, okay, yeah, this is the most likely winner. I just believe that number 1 Bonkers with the barn change, it puts her right there. And, I think that the 1 does have more natural speed than the 8. And you're going to get a better price. I think you either play the 1 or the 8 here. I think the other ones are career maidens. And, I do kind of agree there are things to like about the 6 at 10-1. The problem with the 6 is, the horse is 0 for 9, right? I mean, it's just like at some point, when are we going to just kind of give up on her a little bit as well at this level? So I kind of agree. I think you said it. With a lot of these, we kind of know they're just not very good. Where the 1 and the 8, the 8's, second time starter. So obviously we're not sure on. The 1 has new connections, trying something, quote unquote new for the new trainer. I know the horse has been on the turf, but it's been a while. And never has for Maker. So I think you go with one of those 2. I really think if, I will be pretty surprised if one of those 2 don't win.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is one of those tough spots for me to wrap this up. To go too deep with 2 horses I don't like just doesn't mentally make a lot of sense. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. So it's like, even though they are the most 2 likely winners, I don't think the 6 is that much worse than the 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't really like the 1 or 8 just as singles. Like, I don't think they're good enough. I can't look at the 1 and say, yep, this horse is definitely going to run everyone off its feet. Like, what evidence do I have of that? With the 8, to your point, it's almost 27-1 last time out. The only thing you could say for her, look at the fractions. They were extremely quick. 45 and 2 to the half. That's extremely quick for that distance. Maybe she's a little bit more forwardly placed. It's one of those. It's a really bad race for me because I have to go deep, and a short price is probably going to win. It's just unfortunate, unless I want to go really short. But I'm interested in cashing a ticket. I'm not interested in just trying to get away with it. Let's move on to race 8, 20,000 claimer through 16,000 claimers. Again, sorry about not having the entries up for you guys. I had them here and just forgot to click share. So I'm sorry about that. Let's move on. We'll talk about race 8 now. And I'll start. I thought Missing Link was truly much better. I'm not sure what happened last time. Like, the only thing that has me concerned is why is she back at this level? Like, you win by 4. I'm sorry. If I own this horse, I'm not keeping her at this level. Like, that's the only thing that has me concerned, right?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's
like
fair.
And I say you have a big win bet on her, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And
yeah,
it's like just so perplexing to me. So if you win by a length, you belong here. You go gate to wire, win by 4. Like, why is she not running for 30, or why is she not running for 25, or a starter allowance? Like, why here? Maybe I'll let you. I put her on top. I used a couple others, but why? Like, isn't that a little perplexing to you? Also, I couldn't get that thought out of my mind.
I don't disagree. I think that is the one negative with this horse. It's like, wow, you win by that much. You should at least move up in claiming price, if not go back to like the starter allowance level. But to that point, 2 back, the horse was in a starter allowance and did nothing, just kind of got smoked. So maybe they're just like, yeah, we don't really care, to lose her, But another thing is E5 Racing owns this horse, and they own a lot of good ones. So maybe they just don't really, they think, well, this horse isn't going to be a stakes horse, so we don't really care if we lose her, type of thing. That's my guess on it. But I have to take it for face value and think that they think, they're just trying to get a win here. And boy, this horse should. I mean, the horse looks like a complete standout to me. So that's where the $20 win wager went, was on number 1 Missing Link. But I think the risk you take with betting this horse to win is exactly what you said. And but again, I just kind of think, hey, we own better horses than this one. We don't really care if we lose it. Whatever happens, happens. And they're just trying to pick up a check. The other horse I am worried about is the 8. She's Classy. This horse has a long line of dirt races. You know me, I like horses first time trying something, especially when the pedigree says, yeah, she could probably run on the turf a little bit. And Jose Ortiz gets aboard. I like that as well. So the 8 was the other one that I went to here, second choice. But I'm all about number 1 Missing Link in this spot.
Yeah, I use the 4, turn it on, and turn it on is scratched. Mm-hmm. So if I refresh this page, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to lose where we are, turn it on is scratch. So I don't want to hear about the 4 from anyone. But turn it on is scratch. So the 8 is the second horse that I used. The horse that I'm interested in, though, is the 6 a little bit, Very Savvy. Now, Very Savvy lost to Missing Link by multiple lengths. But she made a move. Edgard's Eyes had her make a move early on. And she was kind of like forced to take up and looked very uncomfortable doing so. Safi Joseph will have her on the turf again, sprinting. I think she's really, really interesting. There's one comment. Jared Bush says trainers like easy checks. There's nothing about an easy check at the 20,000 claiming level. I don't care. Like that doesn't exist. And that's the other thing too. Aaron, told me this a long time ago. When you get to these levels, to expect a horse to consistently run really, really well is tough to do, because if they thought they can do that, they would step them up. Now, we talked about a horse like Frost or Frippery. It's a little different. That's like 1 in thousands. That doesn't happen, where they just run consistently and they run at low level starter allowance to pick up checks. This is not that type of horse. The 1 Missing Link that I'm referring to. So I went 1, 6, 8 again. I really did like the 4, but I think the 8's interesting because of the turf angle for the first time. We have no idea. She does have a lot of thirds, but she has speed, and that speed could easily be enhanced. Going 1 furlong less, running on the grass. Let's get to a couple of comments. Jared says the 6 is in play. We talked about that. Nick says the 5 is interesting. Do you want to talk about the 5, Beauty Queen? For me, this is really tough, right? Because she breaks her mate at the 50,000 level, and then they put her in a multiple months later in a turf route. Like, I have no idea what the heck that is. The fact she was under 14-1 is a miracle, because that horse made no sense. And then they bring her back to the dirt multiple months later again. Like, this, I can't get a read on this horse. This horse looks like hieroglyphics to me, and I'm not taking hieroglyphics at 6-1. So I'll leave it to you.
I think you said a couple really key things. You cannot get a read on this horse, and the horse is too short at 6-1. So Nick, what I would suggest, if you get towards post time and this horse maybe is double-digit odds, where you can kind of just throw a little bet and just try to catch a flyer, then I would kind of recommend it. But at 6-1, I couldn't do it. Now there's a couple things that are absolute facts. She has been facing much tougher competition the last 2 races, so I will never dispute that. That's 100% true. But just nowhere to be found in those 2 races. And it not only are we going turf, dirt, and you kind of, and then now back to the turf. You kind of pointed it out, different distances every time. We're at 4.5. Now we're at a mile. Now we're at 6. Now we're at 5. This horse has 4 races and has never ran the same distance twice. I mean, you don't see that very often unless it's a Triple Crown horse moving up the ladder maybe. But this is odd. She's an odd one. Tough to get a read on her. I couldn't get there. Not at 6-1.
Yeah, I'm with you. Said something that I thought was interesting. If you can catch like double digit and you like this horse, then give it a shot. Like I wouldn't be mad if you did that. But for me, in this situation, it would be different if like Missing Link came in here not winning that last race by 4 lengths, and we just didn't know. Then maybe you could make a case. Let's also take a look at this horse's consistent pattern in terms of running. June 6th, so that's 6-6-20, then runs on 8-29-20, then runs on 10-24-20, and now another 153 days till this race. I mean, something's not right here. And I'm not blaming Carlos David. I don't know if the partnership is telling him what to do and they're kind of control. I have no idea. But I think the fact that Carlos David's winning at 19% is probably the reason this horse is even 6-1. Because if this was, I'm not going to be mean to any other trainers. But if this was someone else, let's just say, I don't think it would work. Jared says, any chance with the 7, put a Fina. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't hate that one.
Mm-mm.
I don't. I don't think she's good enough to beat Missing Link. But for a guy like Aaron who plays, the tries, exactas, I can get on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that. Again, not for me, but in that situation. But Aaron, what do you think? Maybe if you were going to play a try, I think 8-1 would be a price. Maybe not 8-1, 6-1, whatever. Something you can get interested in there.
Yep, I agree. And, horse 2 back wins at this distance. And last time out, you like said, got beat by 4 1/4. But if we think Missing Link is not going to show up and you want to go that route, this one makes sense, right? So, yeah, I don't have any problems with the 7. It's odd to me. This horse is 8-1 and the 5 is 6-1 on the morning line. It almost, I don't know. I think this line might be a little off. Or, hey, maybe you're right. These lines are tough to make for these lower levels. Because you do have to guess, are people going to see that huge class drop and say, let's go for it? Or are we going to play the horses that are kind of experienced at the level, ran decent, but not great? I don't know. I kind of think those odds will flip-flop.
I'm with you. You know what? Me scrolling down to the next race, Aaron, you know what it's like when I don't know if you've watched these award shows, like the Emmys or the Oscars, but play along with me for a minute. It's like when they play the music in the background, it's like it's telling the speaker you got to move on. That's like what we did there. It's like we got to get to the next race. Race 9. Not you, me as well. I have to do something.
Yeah.
That right? It's like you scroll down. It's like, all right, we're moving on. Starter optional claiming 50,000 for 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs on the dirt. Aaron, this is a race that a lot of horses have either faced each other or have been in this spot before. They're interesting. One horse that I'm interested in a little bit has some stakes experience as well. There's one scratch, Miss V Time. So take it away. Excuse me. Where did you go here in race 9?
Well, I went with a trifecta box here, 50-cent trifecta box, 1, 2, 5, and 8. So 1, 2, 5, and 8, 50-cent trifecta box. I took a peek over at your pick 4 and see that you used the 2 and the 5. So the 5 is my top pick and the 2 is my third pick. So I'm going to let you talk about those 2 though, and I will talk about the 1 and the 8. First of all, if I'm playing like you're playing, 2 and 5 make a ton of sense. So I'm with you there. The 1, this horse, it's kind of a Ricky type horse, really consistent, and it's also kind of a me type horse of don't think it's a win candidate. Kind of think we can hit the board here. Coming out of a 50K claimer to the starter allowance ranks, that's pretty much the same. It's pretty similar competition. I think the 1 could jump up and hit the board here, kind of close late, pick off tired horses. Then I also use the 8. First time out against winners, didn't run great, but usually they'll run a little bit better second out against winners. I think the 8 can improve. Is a decent price. I think will be a little more forwardly placed here, which I think is going to be a big key to the race. So the 1 and the 8 were the 2 that I used besides your 2 and 5. So I'll let you talk about the 2 and 5 now.
Yeah, we are seeing your comments, and we'll get to them after we talk about it. For me, the 2, Patty H. Again, this is why I'm not saying no one knows nothing, but if you know anything about Gulfstream racing, our Adios jersey is really, really talented. So to lose to a horse like that is not a big deal. I'll be more than happy to take this horse. And if this horse goes anything at 5-2, I'm all in. And there's a strong chance that you could potentially single. The 5, Briella, is interesting. Obviously, moves from Michael Yates to Kelly Breen, but she won at the 50,000 claiming, and the comment was interesting. It says set, soft pace, and widened. So what does that mean? Well, now as a handicapper, you kind of have to dive into that. Did she set a soft pace because she's not faster than that, and the rest of the field is just dreadful? Or did Miguel Vasquez say, this is all I need to do? Like, that's the question you got to ask yourself. Because if she can't get any faster, she's not going to be good enough to beat this group. And because a horse like Patty H went 6 furlongs, went in 21-4. It's not going to match up 23-2. It's not even close. But maybe Miguel Vasquez said, well, I'm looking around at this field and they just can't catch me at 4-5. I don't know. I assume she can get faster. This race also, Aaron, kind of seems to be the 2 and 5 might duke each other out. That's kind of where I'm scared. Because if they both gun for it, I assume Patty H would be the one to get the lead. If I had to put my dollar on it. Miguel Vasquez knows, though, based on what he did last time with her, she kind of needs the lead also. So are they neck ahead of each other? Or were they looking around and they're right there? Ultimately, what does that do? I just think they're the most two talented horses. And based on what the 5 has run in, even going back to the Sandpiper and the juvenile sprint and against Florida-bred horses, I think that just makes sense. I know you talked about. Anything you want to add on the 2 or 5 before we get to some of these comments?
So I'll just real quickly, because we got some good comments so we can get to, but I'll just real quickly, my kind of rule of thumb, and there is nothing in horse racing as an angle that works every time. So I will never tell you that, but this usually works when I handicap pace. When there's 2 speed horses, it usually doesn't end in a meltdown. When there's 2 out there, the jockeys usually can kind of work out the trip. When I see races kind of fall apart, it's when you got 3 or more speed horses. And the other aspect of it is when there's only 2 horses that have speed, you always could kind of get lucky out of the gates, and one of them doesn't break really well, get shuffled behind, and then you got to loose on the lead horse. Where if you got 3 or more, you only need 2 of them to do what they're supposed to do, and maybe that starts to get heated up. So I get it. I get that you're worried. Obviously, it can happen where there's a speed duel in any race. That can happen, but I don't think it's going to happen here because there's only 2. But yeah, I get why you're worried. But yeah, let's get to the comments.
Well, real quick before we get to the comments, it's fair what you said. And thinking back, it's not cheap speed, right? Like if it's cheap speed that is 20-1, that could ruin your race. That's maybe something to consider. So that's a fair point. Aaron kind of comforted me there. So we'll start here. Are you sure about leaving the 7 off? So the 7, Aaron, I'll let you start. The 7 is Jorge Delgado, gone to Cabo, Irad Ortiz. Are you interested in this horse at all?
The jockey change is about the only reason why I would. And if kind of like you said earlier, I can't remember what race it was. I think it was during the stakes. If you don't want Irad to beat you and we're going to throw him in there, then I can't fault you for that. But other than that angle, it's pretty hard for me to like the horse based on the last 2 races. And I know 2 races back was a pretty tough field, but last time out, I mean, nowhere to be found. I mean, that was not a great race, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't get there, but I don't blame you if you play the 7.
Yeah, for me, like if you're starter optional 16 at Tampa, now you're supposed to run it a starter optional 50 at Gulfstream and win.
That's
enough said for me. Like I've got nothing else to add to that. Dennis says, I dislike Dale Romans unless it's these owners, and I'm a sucker, and I might throw a tiny amount. So Dale, what horse are you talking about?
I think the 6, but isn't the 6 scratched?
The 6, yeah. 6 is scratched. Yeah. Safe Joe horse angle that Jared says. Who's Safe Joe?
Oh, Saffy Joe.
Oh, Saffy Joe.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Okay. So you're referring to the one to a T. Sure. For the way I'm playing it, she just lost to Briella last time out about 5 weeks ago by 6 lengths. And Briella, according to this, and after watching the replay, Briella wasn't asked. So so it could have been a lot worse. I don't need a part of 2 T. Aaron did use that horse. Then Dennis does reply with, I have the 2 logical. Yeah, I think the 2 and 5 are logical. Nick talks about the 4 a little bit. The 4 is Emuna, or Emuna. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. 50,000 maiden claiming, 1 by 2 and a quarter. You know what? I can get on board with this horse. I'm not mad at this horse. To be brutally honest, Aaron and I agree a lot. I would take the 4 over the 1 because I know what the 1 is. Now, that's the way if I'm playing it. Now, I get why Aaron did that because when you're playing tries, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're playing tries, exactives, and I know you don't play super boxes, but for the entertained thought for a minute, you kind of want to know what you're getting because you just need those horses at the board. The 4 could be fantastic, or she might not be good enough against winners, and it creates more of that variable. Like Aaron just needs someone to hit the board, and I think that's what he would be relying on 2 T to do. For me, I don't need the 1. I would take the 4 the way I play. What about for you? Is that why you didn't use the 4 because you just don't really know, and that's why you chose the 1, or were you just not interested at all?
Yeah, I kind of talked about it with the it came down between the 4 and the 8 of who I was going to use in the 4 spot, and the 8 is second time against winners, where the 4 is first time against winners. I just kind of thought, yeah, maybe the 4 we need to see him against winners once before see her against winners once before we kind of go all in on the 4. And I guess that's a poor use of words because all in, putting the horse in 4th, that's not all in. That's just including. But yeah. I just took a little swing against the 4 here, but again, it's another horse. And all these races are kind of the same today. It's like, yeah, I mean, you can make a case for a lot of them, and you can for the 4. I'm not going to sit here and say the 4 would be a bad horse to throw in. It's just I liked others just a little bit more.
Jared says, "What's the story?" Someone else says they're putting the 4. I'll close this out by saying Jose Ortiz hops aboard on the 4. While Tyler Gaffleone stays on the 2. Now, maybe that's Tyler G just wanting to stay with Brad Cox. Potentially, I don't know the answer to that. Or if he really had his choice and doesn't care, the 2 might just be better. Take that thought for what you wish. There is a college basketball comment in there. You guys can start getting those in there, and we'll get to that after this race. We will be doing our Sweet 16 picks. Let's go to the final race, race 10, maiden claiming 35,000 to 30,000 for 3-year-old fillies going 1 1/16 miles on the turf. We have another stacked field. I think this is another tough race, and it's kind of similar, Aaron, I think, to the first race that we opened up with the sequence. This comes down to, again, like I'm just going to try to survive in advance. I feel like I'm in March Madness with this one. It's just like I got to get one of these home. They're all going to be short prices. I put the 5, Iris the Empress, on top. The reason I did that is because I was kind of impressed with the last race. I just don't think she was I don't think she was good enough. And what I mean by that is when you're running against maiden special weight, first of all, it's 47.96. Let's call that 48 for the sake of my point. There's not a ton of speed in there. So we've seen this Gulfstream Park turf slowly I think the word is erode. Is erode fair? Where, sedimentary rock like erodes, whatever. It's not the same luscious turf course that it was at the beginning of the meet. Like, it's hardened out, which means if you're on the lead, it's like Mario Kart when you get the little mushroom and you go like really fast for 5 seconds. That's like what this is. So trying to close is really, really, really tough. I have a feeling the 5 won't be so far back because you've made this point before. You're only far back maybe because you close, but also because you're not good enough to keep up. I think she is good enough to keep up, which means she might be mid-pack a little bit more. I'm really interested in her, and I love Le Peru on the turf. And again, I think Brian Lynch is one of the more underrated turf trainers at Gulfstream, and not only at Gulfstream in the country. I went deep, but I'll throw it to Aaron now. I think this is a pretty good try-box race. It's tough because the prices are going to be short. So we'll see Let's see what Aaron does here. He basically he goes back and forth. What were you thinking here in the final race?
I have zero opinion on this race at all. I think it's a nightmare. It reminds me a lot of the race yesterday, the 10th race. Yeah, that was the 10th race when that 3 won it like 21-1. We were all like, yeah, there's some logical horses, but they all kind of suck. And I took a swing with the 10 who sucked as well. I'll take another swing here with the 3, Family Time. I think Dennis kind of mentioned he doesn't like playing Romans. I don't really either. But, hey, my boy Junior Alvarado gets aboard, so that helps a little bit. It's a swing race for me. The horse gets back to the turf. I think that's the best surface for the horse. I don't love her, but back to the turf, Alvarado aboard, drop down in class. This horse has only been against maiden special weights on the turf. So I'm going to take the 3 on top. Just do a $5 win wager. Like I said, I don't have a strong opinion. I would play it a lot like you're playing it. Just try to go deep and survive. But yeah, I took the 3, just taking a swing. I hate all these other horses.
I don't think the 3 is going to win. Like, I don't like the 3 at all, but I can't fault you for just picking a horse and saying, I'll go $5. Like, I can't fault the logic. Maybe that's not the horse I would have done it with, but yeah. I can't fault the logic. So I'm happy we're on the same page in terms of the logic. Like, maybe that's not the horse I would have used, but I can't fault you for not playing a try box. Like, you'll probably hit the try box if you're logic. What are you going to hit it for? $16? It's just not worth it.
It feels like a race, or exactly what he said. It's not going to be worth it, or you're not. It's going to be something stupid that I could never get to, like yesterday. So sorry, go ahead.
No. There is. I have to break this college basketball news to you. Shaka Smart is moving on. He is going to Marquette.
Really?
He will be Marquette's basketball coach, and the Marquette administration is they're going to tell their players. Their players apparently have no idea. So Shaka Smart will become. I can't believe I'm reading that. That's incredible.
We got Texas and Oklahoma both looking for basketball.
Yeah, it's Lonnie Kruger. Well, Lonnie Kruger is not coaching for different reasons. It's on his terms. I don't know if Texas forced him out. I don't know what's going on. And
100%.
Yeah, and the story will come out because you don't just go from Texas to Marquette. Not that Marquette's bad.
Yeah.
Probably making a lot of money at Texas. Maybe losing to Abilene Christian doesn't help, along with the rest of the conference. The other horse, I used a bunch. I'll go through them quick. One, I used the 5 again. And I also used the 189 and 189, 1589. Okay, so Short Circuit has gotten better and better. I think going longer will help. I kind of like the way Egard Zayas has gotten him. It's gotten her a little bit improved every time, and I don't expect her to be so far back. I actually think the rail will help because I don't see any early speed. So hopefully she could be a little bit more forwardly placed. For the 8, Irasu, just kind of like her best race is probably good enough to win because if she runs her last effort, I think she's going to win because that's probably the best race that anyone has put forward at this level. And the 9, Zaffing, first time, last time out, going 2 turns on the turf, and it seemed to get an improvement. Tyler Gaffleone takes over for Egard Zayas. Egard's on the 1. I'm not – you could even tell in my voice, I'm not thrilled with any of them, but I'm trying to get through. Let's get through a couple of these comments. Let's see. Nick says the 2 or the 3 in the first. I don't even know. Okay, that's maybe race 1. Nick says the 8 looks tough at Razu. Close well, Paco stays. Yeah, that's kind of the angle. I said I think if the 8 can repeat that performance, she's a winner. Yeah. The problem is it took her 9 tries to get there, so are we going to rely on her to do it again? She has finished second 3 times. Maybe I don't know. Dennis says, what? Dennis always comes in with like a book. Well, what if I told you the 2 didn't win that race yesterday? Someone would win. Someone.
You talking about the race yesterday where he said either the 2 wins or anybody wins. And said, yeah, you're right. Somebody will win the race.
Oh yeah, someone's gonna. Right, Dennis. Someone is going to win. We promise you that. I can't guarantee you who's going to win. I promise you someone will win. One of these 10 horses will win. I promise you that. There won't be a horse not listed here that will win. Jared says, "Yeah, shoelaces. What a stab in the dark." Who's
He's
shoelaces?
talking about the 10 horse yesterday that I tried to play in the last race. Yeah.
Oh, he says, asking which in the no. So do you know what he's talking about? No, I'm asking which in the first race, either 2 or 3. Is he? I guess he's talking about the first race of the day.
First race at Gulfstream, does he like the 2 or the 3? Is going to be, or
right?
do we like the 2 or the 3?
I prefer the 2. Mamba on 3. I'm going to leave it at that.
Same.
Okay,
Same.
so we're going with the 2. Mamba on 3. All right, with that being said, time to get your basketball thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, anything you guys. We're going to do 15 minutes of college basketball talk. Try to stay with us in terms of we're going to be going in order, by chronological order. There are 8 games, 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday. Not that difficult. I did have Dr. Miranda telling me that I was saying Mario Kart wrong. Mario. I don't know. Maybe I said Mario. I don't know. Maybe it's a Kentucky versus New York accent. Did you understand me? I thought I said Mario Kart, right?
Mario. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And I said it right. I hope everyone understood me. Mario Kart.
That's how I say it.
Okay, great. So she's wrong. Fantastic. As long as that was
How are you supposed to say? How is she saying you're supposed to say it?
No. She just said I said it wrong, but it was through a text, so I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. I said Mario Kart. I mean,
maybe like in the moment you said it wrong, I didn't listen, but I didn't catch it if you did.
Well, if you're Dr. Miranda, if you're still listening, we can do a whole minute tutorial on how to say it.
Well, listen, have her come on and tell us how to say it right.
I'll tell her to come on right now after, while you're speaking, I'll have her come on. We have, look at some of these games, folks.
Okay.
The first game at 2:40, Oregon State and Loyola Chicago. 2 teams are going to play good defense, but in my book, I think Loyola Chicago, if you haven't seen Cam Krautwig, he's really, really talented. He reminds me of, the old guy at the YMCA. He's a little unathletic. He's a little too big for his size. He's a little goofy. He's kind of like I don't know how to describe him. He's not an NBA player. What did you think of this game? We'll go in order here. Loyola Chicago and Oregon State.
Yeah. I'm going to go Loyola Chicago. I'm going to go. I think they're pretty darn good. Oregon State is playing great. The Pac-12 really showing up. I just think Loyola, they looked really good. Like, you watched that Illinois game, that didn't look like an upset to me. They look like the better team.
No, I'm completely with you. It didn't look like – I thought Illinois was a Final Four team, but I didn't think – like, if they lost, I didn't think they get dominated like that. And a lot of people are having Illinois get to the final game against Gonzaga. I'm with you, Loyola Chicago. Someone said I look like Travis Hafner. Travis Hafner played for the Cleveland Indians and the Yankees. He might have played for another team. I don't believe I look like Travis Hafner.
You said who says you look like that? Let's see.
I look like Travis Hafner. He was a baseball player. Pretty good baseball player. Let's move on. You can look him up while I talk about the next game. Villanova and Baylor. That's at 5:15. I think I'm a Syracuse fan. I'm wearing my Syracuse sweatshirt, and I think this is the game of this. You think I look like Travis Hafner? I don't think I do at all. But
maybe a little.
All right, so maybe I do. I don't think I do. I think there could be other teams. Other players, I should say, or other people I look like. I don't think I look like do. I don't think I do, but okay, that's fine. Villanova and Baylor. Aaron and I kind of agreed with this point. If Baylor plays their best, they have a legitimate chance to beat Gonzaga, and that's probably the only team that I think can do so. So we learned Villanova. You can't doubt Jay Wright. I think the guard play. This tournament is down to guards. Villanova doesn't really have any great ones. They have a couple decent ones. Baylor has Macy O.T., Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell reminds me a lot of Donovan Mitchell. They both wear 45. Where are you going here, Villanova and Baylor?
God, this is a tough one too because I'm scared of Villanova for Baylor, but I gotta go with Baylor. I can't go against them. We've said all year there's the Big 12 and then there's Baylor. Baylor's different, so I'm going to stick with Baylor. I think this will be a hell of a game.
Oral Roberts and Arkansas. Again, the Sweet 16 rematch. I have nothing to say. I like Max Asmus, and I like the kid O'Banner. I think they can score, but Arkansas has athletes. These Cinderella teams. I think if you're Cinderella to me, and Aaron, correct me, I think 13 through 16 is Cinderella. If you're like Oregon State and you're in the Pac-12, or if you're Syracuse in the ACC, you're not a Cinderella in my team. It's not their fault. You're just not a Cinderella.
Yeah.
This is a true Cinderella, and I told Aaron a long time ago, when you wait for teams to like take time off, it's not their fault. It's just the way the schedule is. It's really bad for them. It's really because Arkansas has seen these teams before, already beat Oral Roberts, and they know what they're capable of. And Oral Roberts probably would have been better off going against another team. So I'll take Arkansas. I'll take the kid Moses Moody. I think he's one of the best freshmen in the country.
I am pretty strong on Arkansas. I'll go Arkansas here. I think Oral Roberts' run is over. I think Arkansas plays too good a defense. Their defense has really impressed me. I think they've won with defense the last 2 games. I think they'll guard the 3-point shot a little bit better than Florida and Ohio State did. I'm going Arkansas. I think they'll win by double digits.
There's a point Dennis brought up. He says Loyola's a closer Cinderella than Oregon State or Cuse, but it has been done before, so it doesn't feel special. I'm going to push back, and I'm going to say Loyola Chicago is not a Cinderella from the mere fact you can't be an 8 seed and be a Cinderella. Like, that's just against my rules. I also think we saw them do it again in the Final Four. So I'm not saying Loyola Chicago is going to become Gonzaga, but can they be like Butler where they're no longer a Cinderella? Like, we have to take them seriously. This is just proving that. Because Cinderella is like Oral Roberts, where next year they're probably not going to be very good. Jared Bush says, hey, Aaron, since your friend Jared likes to rip on me, tell him take some Ritalin to calm down. He speaks so Jared, the other Jared does speak very fast.
I don't even know where to begin with that one.
Yeah, I think we'll leave that one. All right, Syracuse-Houston. I've been going first, but I'm going to let Aaron go. Syracuse and Houston, 9:55. Enough with these Syracuse games at night. Like, I know I'm young, but my parents aren't. They don't want to watch a game till midnight. So 10 o'clock start. TBS, Syracuse-Houston. Are we going to the Elite Eight, or are we packing our bags back to Syracuse?
The Houston team I've seen the first 2 games, and the Syracuse team I've seen the last 2 games tells me Syracuse is going to win here. So I'm gonna stick to those guns. I'm gonna pick Syracuse to win this thing. I think you guys are going to the Elite Eight. To be fair, before this thing started, I had Houston in the Final Four. So, but just based on what I've seen in the tournament, Syracuse looks a little better. So I'll change and go live here with Syracuse.
So are you off? So you're off Houston, right? Is that
well, as far as rooting for my bracket, no.
No. So we're not doing that. Either you're rooting for your bracket or you're rooting for Syracuse. You can't have it both ways.
No, I can't have it both ways. Because that's what I am. I'm rooting for Houston because I want to get him to the Final Four for my bracket, and I like Kelvin Sampson. But who I think is going to win right now, live in the moment, I think Syracuse will beat him.
You know what? I apologize to everyone because I shouldn't have let him go first.
Well,
because if I knew he was going to pull that ridiculous stunt.
How does that not make sense to you? I like Kelvin Sampson.
Oh, no, it makes sense. I'm just saying that's like a weak take.
I'm saying I think Syracuse will win, but I have to root for Houston. It's not a take, it's a fact.
You know what? That's like saying, hey, Oklahoma's playing Texas in the Red River Showdown. Well, I do like Sam Ehlinger, but I also like Stoops. Like, I like the history, and I like the horse and the schooner, but I do like Sam Ehlinger. So no matter what, I win. Basically, you know what? That's what he did. He basically, if Syracuse wins, he could shoot me a text saying, I can't believe they're going to the Elite Eight. And when Houston wins, he's going to say, well, that was my Final Four team. He's laughing because he knows that's true. I put him in a corner.
Oh, my God. In your own mind, you did.
You know what? Through saying all this, I have to give Aaron credit because he is one of the more, I don't know what's the word, one of the more objective college basketball fans. He's very objective, and I think he's very objective with sports in general. We were both a little biased rooting for the Ravens this year, but that's because he likes Oklahoma. This Syracuse team, if you I wish you could eliminate Syracuse's games from November through February. And if you just looked at this sample size, this team is like a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah.
The problem is Houston is the other way around. If you eliminate the games in March, even though they did win their conference tournament, they struggled against Memphis twice. Houston's the other way. You want to look at the rest of the season and make it a cumulative resume. Syracuse, you want to take a 6-game resume. I'm going to go with Houston, and here's why. I love Syracuse. I picked against Syracuse now twice, so I'm 0 for 3. I'm 0 for 2. I'm potentially going 0 for 3. Houston can't shoot the ball. Not at all. But they can guard. They can guard. And Syracuse this team reminds me of Clemson. I said, in a way, what is the best team? What is the best team that it can replicate what Houston has done? And I think that was Clemson. On the road at Clemson, if you take a look at those stats, Syracuse was dreadful. Syracuse was able to score the second time around. A lot of people are coming in saying Houston hasn't blown anyone away. And you know what? That's what's scary, because Aaron and I have seen this tournament a lot. You're not going to play well every game. Yep. You're just not in this tournament. And Baylor's played really, really well. The only team that I think can play their best is Gonzaga. Every single game, I think Gonzaga can run in there with their best game. But Baylor will play a team, and it struggled. Can they win that game? Houston has struggled against Rutgers. The problem is Rutgers is very, very similar to Houston. And I think that's why you got that. This game is going to be different. Jay Will says Houston has looked shaky in the injury to Giroux. Okay, you know what? If Dejan Giroux has a legitimate hip injury, then all things are out the window because he is their best player. I'm assuming he's healthy. He finished the game against Rutgers. I'm sure they've been working on him. And Jay Will says, yes, they have to rebound because Houston does get the boards. They are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. Syracuse is one of the worst defensive rebounding teams in the country. I hope I'm wrong. I guess I am kind of like Aaron. If I pick against Syracuse, I'm happy. The difference is I have an investment. Let's move on to the next round. And I sent Dr. Miranda the link. I don't know. Well, I'm going to try to get her on.
I have an update. She texted me and she said, you said Mario Kart.
I just think maybe it just boils down to people in Kentucky don't know how to speak. I think that's the only.
She said you said it, though. She
said
Mario.
A lot of things that I disagree with. Right. That's like a touche. That's a touche moment.
That's a fair point. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this would be the first one. We've agreed on plenty of things, but I said Mario Kart. It's not my fault everyone in Kentucky has, they draw the A out. It's Mario, not Mario. It's Mario. Let's move on to the Sunday games, 2:10. This game, I think it's going to be a blowout. Creighton and Gonzaga. Oh, my goodness. I think this is a horrible matchup for Creighton. You know my pick. I don't have to get into it. What are you thinking here? Can Marcus Zagorowski and Mitch Ballack knock down enough threes to keep them in the game? I don't think they can.
I don't either. I've always kind of liked Creighton, but not here. I think this would be a really tough game for Creighton. I agree. I think this Gonzaga team is the real deal, obviously, and I think they just keep on going here. I think they win this one pretty easy.
The problem, so I think Aaron would agree with this. The only time I've seen Gonzaga struggle, 2 times. When West Virginia played them very early in the year, they went very physical, but they had Oscar Tshiebwe, so they played 2 bigs. Oscar Tshiebwe is probably at Rupp Arena taking free throws right about now. He's transferring to Kentucky, or he may already actually be. I think he might be at Kentucky. He was second semester transfer. The other one was BYU in the first half, who I'm pretty sure scored 50 points. Can Creighton do that? Because they're not going to play any bigs. Their big guy, Christian Bishop, is like a 6'9", stretch 5. He's not that type of player. So Creighton will have to score. They've been struggling to shoot the ball lately. Now, Creighton wants to get up and down. You know who wants to get up and down? Jalen Suggs, Corey Kispert, Joel Ayayi, Drew Timme. This could be really, really, really bad. Like Dennis says, how many points do I think Gonzaga wins by? I'll be willing to say like 10 to 15. I don't think it's close. I really don't. I think they're up by 10 at the break. As long as they play their game. If they come out messing around, we'll see it. Aaron, what do you think? I don't think this is close. I think this is the biggest blowout of the weekend.
Yeah, I do too. I think 10, 15 points is about right. The OU game, it's like, damn, we're on pace to score like 100 points after the first couple of TV timeouts. And it's like, we're ahead by 1. And I know we can't keep this up, but they are getting easy baskets. And we're like Reeves is making like behind the back, eyes closed shots and they're going in. It's the line is Zags minus 13.
I'm completely with you. It's one of those situations, right, where it's like the line's 13. I would take that, and I would specifically look at the first half. I don't know what the first half line is. Oh, Dr. Miranda is coming on. We'll have her at the end. Florida State and Michigan. I think Florida State's going to get them. I really do. I had LSU to beat Michigan. I think Florida State can lock them down. It's going to be ugly. I think this game's going to be extremely ugly. What do you say?
I think Michigan survives this one. I'm going to go Michigan.
You're on Michigan. Okay.
Survive.
Yeah, it's going to be a survive. I think either team's going to survive. I think this game's going to be really close. UCLA, Alabama. UCLA has played much better, and ever since they lost some of their big guys, they played better playing small ball. Mick Cronin's done a nice job. I think Alabama, though, has too much shooting. Dennis says first half is 7.5. I would be all over that. Absolutely all over that. Alabama, for me, Alabama's my Final Four team. I haven't seen anything in the first weekend to keep me away from that. What do you think? Alabama, UCLA.
A lot of me wants to pick UCLA, but I think at the end of the day, Alabama is a little bit better. I think they just got a little bit more talent. I gotta go. I gotta go Alabama. I was back and forth, but I gotta go Alabama.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that one, right? I think it's one of those situations where I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Alabama from scoring. I do like their defense. I think Alabama will get the job done. Oregon, USC. Right now, 2 Pac-12 teams, by far the best performing conference. I'm going to take USC and Evan Mobley. What do you think? Or are you going to take Oregon? They played really well last game.
Boy. I like Altman. I think he's a great coach. I think USC wins, though. I think they're awfully damn good. They are a lot better than I thought they were. So I'm going to go USC.
He'll go USC. Dr. Miranda is going to come on. If she wants to give us college basketball picks, fine. But I'm more interested on why I said the word Mario wrong. Sorry. I meant, here we go. I'm going to bring her on now. This is serious. This is a serious matter because I think this is a matter of accents, right? And I prefer to think the New York accent would outweigh the Louisville, Kentucky accent. But I guess we can sit here and debate that. Please tell me why or what you think I said the word was wrong about.
Okay, listen. So I play your Rocket Hour in the background when I'm at work.
We appreciate that.
And I share an office with another chiropractor. And we're sitting here, and all of a sudden we hear Ricky talking. He's always like, real quick, real quick, real quick. We usually have a tally marker for you. But today you said, oh, yeah, when we play some Mario Kart. I'm like, what is Mario Kart? Like Mario. Like, hey, Mario. You said Mario. Sorry, that's all you said. I'm glad you had me on. Are you disappointed in that?
No, I'm not. I think, one of the things, I think I'm going to sum it up by saying this. New York is known for their pizza. They're known for their Italian food.
Oh
so you'd think I see the word Mario once, twice, or 3,000 times a day. I'm guessing the pizza or the Italian food in Louisville, Kentucky is minimal at best. From all the times I've heard the word Mario, I'm probably going to venture and say that I say it a touch better. Again, that's just where I live. Now, if we're talking about like KFC, right? Like the Yum brands, like things like that, then I'm going to go your way. But I think Italian food in New York, it doesn't really get matched. Like the pizza in New York, the Italian food, the ambiance, all of the things here in New York would lead me to believe that I said Mario properly. If you don't think so, I mean, you could replay it after the show. I'm just going on logic. I'm just going on like I want to throw it to Mr. Halterman. You can't blame me for my logic for thinking Mario said properly, being a born New Yorker.
Oh my God.
Listen, I wasn't listening to you, so I have to go with somebody who was. So if she says Mario Kart is what you said, then that's what she said. I have to go with Miranda on this one.
Don't talk shit about the Ville. Louisville compared to New York, it is one of the most drastic difference in cities I could even throw out there. I mean, Louisville's like tier 5 city. New York is like tier 1 city.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, everything. People, things to do, sports teams, venues, entertainment, culture, like everything. It's not even close. Like Louisville's like in the same as like Tulsa, maybe a little bit better than Tulsa. Like Louisville's really far down there.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you had me on for this huge debacle. I'm glad we got it.
No, I want to make sure.
I have a couple patients waiting on me. So.
Ask them what's the proper way to say it. When you see your next couple patients, ask them what's the proper way to say it.
They're all gonna say Mario because they're not psychopaths like you. So, you guys have a good day. Bye.
I was gonna tell her to that we gave her a little shout out with her video, but didn't have time for that. New York sucks so much. Who wants to live there? Well, Aaron, I know you don't live there.
Right.
I'm guessing the hundreds of millions of people who live there want to. Not the best comment of all time, right? Like, it's New York City. It's like one of the most populated cities in the world. Like, apparently people want to live there.
I will weigh in this. I would rather live in Tulsa, Oklahoma than New York City, but that's me.
No, but that's okay. But that's stylistically, right? Like you grew up. Yeah, that's different. I'm just saying, like, who wants to live there? Millions of people want to live there. Like, like that doesn't make any sense. Like if we look up population, it's like the highest populated city in the world. So obviously, a lot of people want to live there. Like that doesn't make sense. Like that's like saying who wouldn't want to play for the Chiefs? They have the best quarterback. Like, it makes sense you want to play there. I don't want to play in Jacksonville.
You're very territorial. We were learning things about you as you go. And
the one thing about New York, as we wrap this up, it stinks for horse racing in terms of the city, not the actual racing, but the city. I'll admit that it's horrible, absolutely horrible. Like Belmont's far, Monmouth is a little far, Saratoga's far. I'll give you that. I'm objective with my places. To sit here and say no one wants to live in New York City, though, I think Slim and Vinny would also object since they live in New York and they don't live in the city. We'll wrap this up. Again, good luck playing Gulfstream Park today, March 26th. Again, happy birthday, Mom. I know you might be listening in the background. I know she does once in a while. I don't know if you are or not today. You can check out racingdude.com. They have the wagering guide. It's up. Like I said, it'll be updated tomorrow. I think their post is pretty early, probably like 11:30. So it's probably going to be updated around 9:30, 9:45, whenever that comes out. We're playing again today. Gulfstream, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita for me. Just missed a couple races yesterday. We didn't get a chance to recap. Just missed. We're still banking on the 5,000 pick 5 we brought in last week. So hopefully we can garner some momentum, and we can make some money. Yeah, Vicky says my entire goal will be listening to the replay and hearing how I said Mario Kart. Yeah, I don't know when that was. I don't have a timestamp. It's probably in the middle of the episode, to be brutally honest, because it was maybe like race 8 or 9. I have no idea. Yeah, so guys, please take a look, take a listen. If I said it wrong and I said Mario, I do apologize because that is not the right way to say it if I did. Now, it is nice to know my co-host wasn't listening. That's also fantastic.
No. But before we get too off guard here and you just rant and end the show, live stakes tomorrow, or live stream tomorrow starting at 4:30 Eastern time. 4:30 Eastern time through the Florida Derby. We'll cover the last 4 stakes on the Gulfstream card. Just want to throw that out there.
No, that's good because I don't know if I was going to even remember. I didn't even know about it until today. So 4:30. There is another stakes race at Santa Anita at 8:30. I think the Santa Ana. We won't be on that late. It is a holiday for me, so I'm going to try to get on. I can't promise anything. I will do my best at some point to hop on. I know Aaron will. He always does. Jared probably will as well. I don't think he'll be taking any Ritalin or whatever Jared Bush was talking about before. Check out racingdudes.com for all your content this weekend. If you watch the Sweet 16, we'll be back here on Wednesday and we'll wrap it up. At that point, we'll have our final 4 teams. I think the Elite 8 is played on Monday night and Tuesday night, so we'll have those as well. So guys, come back with your thoughts, comments, questions, tweet us, whatever you want to do. Reach out, contact at racingdudes.com. You could email me as well. We will see you guys. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Aaron will definitely see you tomorrow. Vicky really quick wants to know greatest honor. That's who I have on top, but I am going with Calibrate underneath as well. So Aaron is on the same boat. He likes Calibrate as well. You guys can replay this or blinkers off, and you guys will be able to get your picks there as well, or just buy the guide or buy my stuff. That's an easy way to do it. Also, we will see you guys on Wednesday with recaps of all. We'll do recaps of all the stakes races, and then we'll be at Gulfstream, and then next week, Aaron, I think we're gonna have to go to Keeneland. Opening weekend, I should say, Keeneland, next time out as well. So we will see you guys Wednesday, and Aaron definitely tomorrow. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. And again, Mom, happy birthday on Friday, March 26th. Take care, everyone.